Part 2. Rising from the Dust. 6 months later, the small room where Adora and Cole once lived was now a memory, one they spoke about with laughter, not regret. Their new apartment had 2 rooms, tiled floors, and a small balcony where Adora grew basil and tomatoes in cracked buckets. Sweet Start buns had become a household name in their part of the city. Orders now came in dozens daily. Cole's new carpentry workshop, Handcrafted Dreams, stood proudly at the corner of their street, its fresh paint gleaming in the afternoon sun. One Saturday morning, Adora woke up to the smell of frying akra from the neighbor's kitchen. Cole was already up, hammering away at a custom bed frame order. She stretched, smiled to herself, and padded barefoot to the kitchen. Just as she reached for the kettle, Cole entered. Dust on his cheeks, his smile brighter than the sun. "Good morning, my queen," he said, kissing her forehead. Adora giggled. "Good morning, my king of wood and nails." They sat together, sharing a small breakfast of pap and akra. As they ate, Cole's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, raised an eyebrow, and handed it to Adora. It was a message from the City Small Business Awards. "Congratulations! Sweet Start Buns has been nominated for Best Startup Business of the Year. You are invited to the awards gala next month." Adora dropped the phone like it was hot. "Jesus, is it real?" Cole laughed, picking the phone up. "It's real, my love. We've been nominated." Adora clutched her chest, tears filling her eyes. "From frying chin-chin with leftover flour to this," she whispered. Cole nodded, his voice soft. "God is faithful, and you are unstoppable." The next few weeks were a whirlwind. They bought second-hand clothes for the gala. Adora chose a simple blue gown that matched her soft brown skin perfectly, and Cole wore a black jacket he borrowed from a neighbor. They couldn't afford designer outfits, but their hearts were something far better. Pride, the night of the gala, arrived. The event hall glittered with chandeliers, rich perfume, and loud laughter. Big businessmen and women swirled in flowing gowns and sharp suits. Adora clutched Cole's arm tightly as they walked in, heads held high. Some people stared at them, the simple couple from the edges of the city, but Adora didn't shrink. She remembered her small beginnings, and her heart beat proudly. When it was time for the awards, the announcer's voice boomed across the hall. And the winner of Best Startup Business of the Year, Sweet Start Buns. Adora froze. She blinked. Cole nudged her gently. "Go," he whispered. Hand in hand, they walked to the stage. Flashbulbs popped. Applause thundered. The host handed them a golden plaque and a small cash prize. Adora's hands shook as she took the microphone. She cleared her throat. "We didn't start with much. Just hope and buns," she said, her voice trembling but strong. The hall grew quiet. "We're proof that you don't need to be rich to dream. You just need faith, hard work, and someone who believes in you." Cole squeezed her hand. She smiled at him, tears sliding down her cheeks. The audience stood up, clapping. Not because of wealth or fame, but because they had witnessed something rare. Pure love stitched together by struggle, sacrifice, and loyalty. When they got home that night, they placed the award on the tiny shelf Cole had built from leftover wood. They sat on the balcony, feet bare, sipping cold water under the stars. Adora rested her head on Cole's shoulder. "Can you believe it?" she whispered. He kissed her hair. "I believe in you. I believe in us." The cool night breeze carried their laughter into the air. In the distance, the city lights twinkled like promises. And in their simple home, with their simple dreams, Cole and Adora discovered the secret that the world's richest men sometimes missed. Peace, love, and hard-earned joy are the greatest riches of all. 2 years later, the name Sweet Start Buns wasn't just known on their street. It was famous across the city. They had 2 kiosks, 1 delivery tricycle with their logo printed proudly on the side, and 4 full-time workers. Cole's carpentry business, Handcrafted Dreams, was now supplying custom furniture to cafes, offices, and homes in the city. Their lives had changed, but their hearts had stayed the same. One Saturday afternoon, Adora and Cole stood side by side, admiring the large for lease sign being taken down from a beautiful corner shop. Their dream was finally real. They were about to open their first real bakery and showroom. It had glass windows, fresh white paint, and a little courtyard where customers could sit under umbrellas and eat fresh buns with cold drinks. Adora squeezed Cole's hand. "Can you believe it?" she whispered. He smiled. "I can, because I know who you are." The grand opening was simple but beautiful. Children from their old street came running in. Neighbors hugged them tightly, and customers flooded the new shop. That night, as they counted their first day's earnings, Adora looked around the bakery. The shining counters, the smell of fresh dough, the laughter floating in the air, and felt her eyes fill with tears. "We built this," she said softly. "From nothing." Cole kissed her forehead. "From love." But with new success came new storms. People who once mocked them now tried to befriend them. Old friends resurfaced from nowhere, smiling sweetly, asking for favors. Linda, the same Linda who once mocked Adora's poverty, showed up one afternoon in tight designer clothes and crocodile tears. "Adora!" she cried at the bakery entrance, throwing her arms around her. "My sister, you're a big woman now, oh. I'm so proud of you." Adora stepped back gently. She smiled, but it was a smile full of wisdom, not weakness. "Thank you, Linda," she said simply. Linda looked around the bakery, eyes shining with greed. "See, Adora, I have one small business idea. If you can just invest small money in me, and we can." Adora held up her hand politely. "Linda, I'm happy where I am. Please respect our journey." Linda's face fell. She forced another smile, but Adora was already turning back toward her happy customers. She had no space for fake friendships anymore. Meanwhile, new challenges tested Cole too. One afternoon, a rich businessman visited the carpentry workshop. His order was simple: design furniture for his new hotel. It was a massive opportunity, worth more money than Cole had ever handled at once. But there was a catch. After Cole submitted his designs, the man called him privately. "Your designs are good, very good, but if you want the contract, you must inflate the price. We will both chop the extra." Cole stared at him, stunned. "You want me to steal?" The man laughed. "Everyone does it. Don't be naive." That night, Cole sat on the balcony with Adora, staring into the city lights. "If I refuse," he said, "I lose the biggest job of my life." Adora touched his hand. "And if you agree, you lose yourself." Cole closed his eyes, breathing in the quiet wisdom of her words. The next morning, Cole returned the contract and signed. He shook the businessman's hand firmly. "Thank you, sir, but I can't work with you." The man scoffed. "You'll regret it." But Cole smiled. "Maybe, but I'll sleep well at night." Months passed, and something beautiful happened. A famous event planner visited Sweet Start Buns and fell in love with Adora's products. She offered them a partnership, a supply deal for major weddings, birthdays, and conferences. In 1 year, Sweet Start Buns expanded into 3 more locations across the city. Handcrafted Dreams became the official furniture supplier for 2 hotels that heard about Cole's honesty. People often asked them, "What's your secret?" Adora would smile and say, "Patience, hard work, and a love that doesn't shake when the world tries to break it." One evening, Adora and Cole stood on the balcony of their first real house, a 2-story building with space for children they hadn't yet had. The sunset painted the sky with colors that looked almost too beautiful to be real. Adora leaned her head against Cole's chest. "Are you happy?" she whispered. He wrapped his arms around her. "Happier than I ever dreamed." She looked up at him, her eyes soft with new dreams. "What if we opened a training center, a place where young people can learn baking, carpentry, business, even if they have no certificate, no money, just dreams?" Cole grinned. "You're still thinking about lifting others even now?" She smiled. Because someone once believed in me when I was nothing. He kissed her forehead. Then let's do it. And right there, under the falling sun and rising stars, they planted the seed for their next big dream. A future where success wasn't just something they kept, but something they gave away. The training center opened quietly without noise or ceremony, just like how Adora and Cole had started their own journey. They called it the Seed House. It sat on a large plot of land they had bought on the outskirts of the city. A simple building with 2 classrooms, a small workshop for carpentry, and a bakery kitchen filled with second-hand ovens and flour-dusted tables. A faded sign outside read, "You don't need riches to start, just heart." Their first batch of students were 6 boys and 8 girls, most of them teenagers. Some had dropped out of school. Some had been selling sachet water on the streets. Some had no parents. All of them had dreams, but no one had ever helped them believe. Adora taught baking classes every morning, showing students how to mix, fry, knead, and dream. Cole taught woodworking and simple business lessons, sharing every mistake he and Adora had ever made. Every lesson they had ever learned, a tea first, it was hard. Some students were stubborn, skeptical, even angry, but Adora and Cole were patient. They remembered the days when they too had been angry, hungry, and hopeless. Slowly the students softened. They learned. They tried. They failed. They tried again. One day, a shy girl named Muna stayed behind after baking class. She twisted the hem of her dress in her hands. "Auntie Adora, can I ask something?" "Of course, Muna," Adora said, smiling warmly. Muna's voice shook. "How do you know you won't fail, even when everything is so hard?" Adora knelt down so they were eye to eye. "You don't always know," she said. "Sometimes you just keep going anyway. Step by step, tear by tear, prayer by prayer." Muna wiped her eyes quickly, trying to hide her tears. Adora hugged her tightly and whispered, "You are stronger than you think." From that day on, Muna became the best baker in the class. But success never comes without tests. As the Seed House grew popular, whispers started. Other businesses in the area grew jealous. Some claimed Adora and Cole were using the center to make secret profits. One man, an old furniture shop owner, spread lies that Cole was stealing customers. Adora cried the first night she heard the rumors. "Why are they doing this?" she whispered into Cole's chest. He stroked her hair gently. "Because light always makes darkness uncomfortable. Keep shining." They decided to stay silent. Let their work speak louder than the noise. And it did. A year later, something extraordinary happened. One of their first students, Muna, won a city-wide baking competition. Another student, John, started his own small furniture shop and hired 2 of his former classmates. The city's mayor visited the Seed House, impressed by the transformation stories. The mayor stood in front of the whole community during a special event and said, "This place is proof that hope can be planted." This couple, Adora and Cole, didn't wait for a perfect life to start helping others. They turned brokenness into blessings. That night, as fireworks sparkled over the humble rooftops, Adora and Cole held hands, tears sliding down their cheeks. They didn't need awards. They didn't need applause. They had planted seeds. And now, the world was blooming. One final twist came when Adora found out something that shook her heart with joy. She was pregnant. One bright Sunday morning, she stood in their kitchen, holding the pregnancy test in her trembling hands. When Cole walked in, dusty and sweaty from the workshop, she smiled so wide he dropped his tools immediately. "Adora," he gasped. She just held out the test, laughing through her tears. Cole lifted her in his arms, spinning her around, laughing like a man who had just touched heaven. "Our family is growing," he whispered against her hair. "Our future is even bigger than we dreamed." 9 months later, in a small, sunlit hospital room, Adora gave birth to a baby girl. They named her Amara, meaning grace. When Cole held his daughter for the first time, he wept openly. Not from fear, not from sorrow, but from a deep, overwhelming gratitude. He remembered the days of soaked Gary, the nights of sleeping on dusty floors, the shame, the hunger, the struggle. And now, standing by Adora's side, their baby girl breathing softly against his chest, he realized something powerful. They had not just survived, they had risen. They had built a life from nothing but love, faith, and relentless kindness. In the end, Cole and Adora didn't just leave behind a business. They left behind a legacy. A bakery that fed bellies, a carpentry shop that built homes, a training center that built futures, a marriage that taught a city how to love, a daughter born into a story of grace, struggle, and unbreakable hope. And whenever anyone asked them how they did it, Adora would smile, lift her daughter higher into her arms, and say, "We didn't do it alone, though we planted hope. We watered it with tears, and God made it grow." And it was more than enough.